questions. Questions orales, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, Christmas is around the corner, but the Liberals are already acting like the Grinch. Canadians are the ones who should be unhappy because of grocery costs. They want delicious, affordable food. But according to Dalhousie University, Canadians will have to pay $1,000 more next year for groceries. So it'll be a total of $17,600 a year, and all because of this government's inflationary taxes and deficits. Why is this Liberal government forcing Canadians to feed a big, big government rather than feeding their families? The Honourable Minister of Finance. Mr. Speaker, I know that it's Monday and my colleagues seem happy, yet the Leader of the Opposition seems to be dreaming. He's talking about an imaginary tax. Canadians know better, Mr. Speaker. There's good news in our budget. Our major measure in this budget is a tax break for 22 million Canadians, Mr. Speaker. These measures will help Canada grow. We will grow more jobs. We will grow our economy. I hope the Conservatives are going to wake up before Christmas and vote for our budget, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, this Christmas, the Prime Minister is the Grinch of the grocery store. Yep. According to Dalhousie University, the cost of groceries will be up $1,000 in 2026 for a total of $17,600 just to feed a family of four. The Liberal Grinch, who brings in an industrial carbon tax on the farm equipment, fertilizer and food processors. The Liberal Grinch with a food packaging tax. The Liberal Grinch with a $78 billion inflationary deficit. Will he get rid of all of these hidden grocery taxes so Canadians can feed themselves at Christmas?
The Honourable Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, it's Monday and we have good news. Canadians knows it. It's all in the budget, Mr. Speaker. There's a lot of good news.
On peut pas lever le livre de cette façon, là.
One can't raise a book like that. It's one thing to read or quote from it, but we can't wave it around.
Speaker, I understand. I think that the budget would be a great Christmas gift, Mr. Speaker, to all Canadians. I would just hope that the Conservative would wake up and make sure that they vote for the budget before Christmas, Mr. Speaker. We're going to build our nation. We're going to create jobs. We're going to build housing. We're going to create infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, this is the best gift they can give to Canadians. I just hope they'll do the right thing for the
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
If they want to combat their own cost of living crisis, the Liberals would focus on approving pipelines that would sell more oil, boost our Canadian dollar so Canadians could buy affordable food and homes. In fact, there was such a pipeline, the Northern Gateway. Liberals killed it in a 2016 cabinet decision, a decision the Prime Minister supported. They further blocked it with a Liberal ban on tanker traffic off the northwest BC coast. The Prime Minister claims to have changed his mind in a recent MOU. So will he be able to change the minds of fellow Liberals and vote for his own MOU and allow a pipeline to the Pacific?
The Honourable Minister of Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, it's a sad day because the Conservatives are divided. The Conservative premiers across this country support this MOU in its entirety. The Leader of the Opposition is seeking to divide this country, and we can see through that cynical tactic. The MOU is about building a strong country. It's about doing it in an environmentally responsible way in partnership with Indigenous peoples. It would be great if the opposition joined all the other Conservatives and all of us in building this country strong.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, that's exactly what we're trying to do. In the spirit of Christmas, I decided to take a great act of generosity and lift the words right out of the Prime Minister's MOU in order to support a pipeline to the Pacific and a repeal or an overriding of the Liberal tanker ban. Now, of course, it would mean Liberals would have to admit they were wrong admit they were wrong to block that pipeline. They were wrong about the tanker ban. Will, in the spirit of Christmas, Liberals admit they were wrong, vote for their own wording, approve a pipeline, and get rid of the tanker ban?
The Honourable Minister of Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, in the spirit of Christmas, I'd invite the Leader of the Opposition not to cherry-pick parts of the MOU, but to support the entire MOU, which is what all of the Conservative premiers across this country are doing, which is what this side is doing. It's how we will build strong. Stop being cynical and build this country with us.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Speaker, I think the only division here is that the Prime Minister is divided against himself. The Prime Minister opposed the pipeline to the Pacific. Now he claims he supports it. He supported the tanker ban. Now he claims he opposed it. Mr. Speaker, this is the Prime Minister who said he wanted to keep half of our oil in the ground, and now he pretends to have changed his mind. He signed an MOU. He says one thing in BC, the opposite in Alberta, and here in the House of Commons he hides under his desk. Why would the Prime Minister stand up, take a position, and announce that he's voting in favor of his MOU language to build a pipeline?
The Honourable Minister of Natural Resources.
Speaker, the Premier of Alberta supports the entire MOU. The Premier of Saskatchewan supports the entire MOU. The Premier of Ontario supports the entire MOU. It would be great if the Conservatives would join us in supporting the entire MOU and building this country strong.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
I think the minister is suggesting that there are parts of his own MOU that he does not support. I mean, the MOU says there would be a pipeline to the Pacific. I took the wording right out of the agreement, that there would be an overriding of the tanker ban. I took the wording for that right out of the MOU. And now the Prime Minister is hiding under his desk. Liberal members on one side of the country are saying they're against, while they're pretending in Alberta that they are in favor. So why don't they stand up in the House of Commons, look Canadians in the eye, take one position, vote for a pipe to the Pacific, and override the tanker?
Honourable Government House Leader.
Well, Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister and all of us and all Conservative premiers and most people in this country supports every part of that MOU, Mr. Speaker. What's more, the Leader of the Opposition stands in his place and says to the people of Alberta, you know what? That little thing that they said was progress for our province, that made us a leader in renewable technologies, made us a leader in nuclear energy, made us a leader in interties, made us a leader in conventional electricity, that's all off. I just want this one thing.
L'honorable député de Saint-Jean.
The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean. Mr. Speaker, for weeks now, the Conservatives have been working to sabotage Bill C-9 and the Bloc Québécois amendment that would eliminate from the criminal code the religious exception which allows hate speech. But, surprise, surprise, the Conservatives are not alone. We found out that behind the scenes, the Prime Minister's office itself is also sabotaging the work of the Bloc Québécois and of the Minister of Justice. Clearly, on every issue, to find out where the Prime Minister stands, we just need to find out where the Conservatives stand. Why would he rather sabotage his own bill than get rid of the religious exemption?
L'honorable Ministre de la Justice.
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In order to combat hate throughout the country, we need to take action. In order to do so, this House must pass C-9 so that we can guarantee protection to communities. Now, as for the religious exception, we need to work with different groups and parties to understand different perspectives, but this is the responsibility of the Justice Committee, and I look forward to hearing what they decide after their next meeting. The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean. Mr. Speaker, for 6 years now, 6 years, the Liberal government has been promising legislation to combat hate speech. 6 years of making promises to groups that feel threatened. 6 years of saying that we must take action against hate. For once, their bill had a shot at passing, as long as they got rid of the religious exception, which the National Assembly unanimously supports. Once again, the Liberals backtracked. Why Did the Prime Minister side with the Conservatives and the religious right over Quebec and over groups that are worried?
Honorable Ministre de la Justice.
The Honourable Minister of Justice. Mr. Speaker, it's clear that we have a responsibility to fight crime in general, including hate crime. Our government has a responsibility to put forward measures to combat hatred. It's our duty, for instance, to improve legislation.
To fight crime in this country. We've seen delay and obstruction from the Conservative part. I look forward to collaborating with all parties in a minority parliament, and I will look forward very much to the recommendations from the Justice Committee as they consider potential amendments to the current bill.
L'honorable député.
The Honourable Member for Rivière-du-Nord. Mr. Speaker, last Thursday, members of the Justice Committee were set to vote on repealing the religious exemption, but the Liberals cancelled the committee meeting, and everything suggests that they will cancel it again tomorrow and Thursday. The Liberals are reneging on their agreement with the Bloc Québécois, and they are letting Quebecers down. The Liberals are pulling the plug on C9. The Prime Minister is rebuking his Justice Minister for choosing Quebec's side over that of right-wing religious groups. The Liberals' great concern about combating hate seems to be falling by the wayside, Mr. Speaker. How will they justify their about-face after so many broken promises? The Honourable Minister of Justice.
The particular bill, since inception, was designed to combat hate in this country and to offer protections for minorities, including religious minorities, who are facing hate. My priority is to see this bill adopted so we can offer protections for communities who frankly don't deserve to be faced with the hate crimes that they have been subjected to. That's going to require that we collaborate with different parties who have different points of view. I thank my colleague for the conversations that we've been able to share. I look forward to seeing the decision that's going to be taken, not by an individual minister, but by the Justice Committee as they consider potential amendments going forward. I very much look forward to see the results of those deliberations, and I hope we can see the swift adoption of this bill.
The Honourable Member for Foothills.
The Prime Minister said that he should be judged by the price of food at the grocery store. Well, the food price report gave the Liberals a failing grade. It confirmed that food prices are going to increase $1,000 a family next year, a cost they simply can't afford. But Canadians didn't need a report to tell them that. They are experiencing it every single day. Canadian food banks are on the brink. In Foothills, the Okotoks Food Bank served more than 21,000 families last year. That is unbelievable. Why is the Prime Minister forcing Canadians to food banks instead of reducing taxes on farmers, fuel, and food?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
He likes to talk about farmers, but let's talk about what farmers were going through last year. 66% of agricultural land in Canada was experiencing drought, extreme drought, Mr. Speaker, which drove up prices of beef. And not only that, Mr. Speaker, all across the world, prices for imports like coffee and tea and cocoa and strawberries and oranges went up as a result of climate change, Mr. Speaker. We focus on the things we can control, and you know what we can control? Putting more money in the pockets of Canadians. Why won't they get on board?
The Honourable Member for Foothills.
This didn't happen yesterday. A decade ago, when the Liberals took office, the average weekly food bill was about $160 a week. A decade later, it has doubled to $340 a week. That's $17,500 to feed a family of 4. That is unbelievable in a country like Canada. And our Canadian food banks can't manage the load. And these aren't just strangers. These are friends, families, co-workers, neighbors, all relying on food banks. Why is the Prime Minister sticking to his ideology, increasing taxes to grow the food, transport the food, and buy the food, instead of lowering those taxes so Canadians...
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Speaker, we're not focused on imaginary taxes. We're focused on what actually helps Canadians. And you know what helps Canadians, Mr. Speaker? More money in their pockets. A decade ago, the Canada Child Benefit was worth up to $6,000. It's now worth up to $7,200, Mr. Speaker. It's kept pace with inflation. It's made sure that families have what they need to buy those children the food they need. And, Mr. Speaker, we haven't stopped there. Everything we do is focused on making sure Canadians can weather the tides, no matter their good times or bad.
The The honourable member for Brantford, Brant South, Six Nations.
This Prime Minister told Canadians he should be judged by prices at the grocery store. Well, the results are in, and the Liberals have failed. In my community of Brantford, City Council declared a food insecurity emergency. Liberal inflationary spending is causing a run at food banks. Grocery bills have doubled, and the outlook for 2026 is even worse. After all this damage, will these Liberals finally admit that their taxes and reckless spending caused this crisis and scrap them now before even more Canadians go hungry?
The Honourable Minister of Agriculture and Agri-Food.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let's drill down into the report everybody seems to be talking about. Let's quote, food prices are influenced by a variety of global factors, including climate change, geopolitical conflicts, input and energy costs, food distribution, food processing, and regulations. Mr. Speaker, it's not the Liberal Party, it's what's happening around the world, everywhere around the world. Let's get serious about this and help Canadians.
The honourable member for Brantford, Brant South, Six Nations.
Canadians are tired of excuses. They want groceries they can afford. 100%. On the food price report, they put it bluntly, if 2025 was difficult for Canadian households, 2026 won't be easier. After the most expensive Prime Minister in Canadian history has already shattered household budgets and forced families into desperation, Canadians are now being told that pain will only deepen. Will the Prime Minister commit today, yes or no, to scrapping the industrial carbon tax and the fuel tax on food production, or will he keep choosing ideology over empty stomachs?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we've already gone down this path. Canadian Climate Institute has come out and said that it is non-negligible in the price of food. The industrial carbon tax is 0.008. Mr. Speaker, we know definitely well that that's not the case. There's other factors in the world that are taking place. A geopolitical trade war, climate change, drought in the prairie provinces. These are all adding to the rise in cost of food, Mr. Speaker. They know that, so let's get on board and treat Canadians fair.
The honourable member for Cambridge.
Mr. Speaker, no one expected the verdict to be this tragic when judging the Prime Minister by prices at the grocery store. I heard from an 82-year-old woman who was forced to leave her hometown of Cambridge and her family just to afford groceries and rent. And Lacey, a single mom from Cambridge, told local media she spends her days asking, where's the sale? Clipping coupons and skipping meals just to feed her son. This is the reality for thousands of Canadians. Families are forced to buy whatever they can afford, not what's healthy or good for them, if they eat at all. So when so many families, seniors and working adults are going hungry, how can this government possibly justify any more inflationary taxes?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Financial Institutions.
Mr. Speaker, that leader's heart was 2 sizes too small when it comes to delivering affordability for Canadians. We cut taxes for 22 million Canadians. We cut the tax for first-time homebuyers. We are continuing to deliver on affordability, school food program, personal service support tax credit. Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House, we're focused on affordability. It's time for that leader to let the light in, let his heart grow, join us in delivering affordability for Canadians. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Bellechasse, Les Etchemins, Lévis. Mr. Speaker, this Prime Minister told Canadians that he should be judged on the cost of groceries. Well, I hope he has a good lawyer because the verdict is brutal. According to Le Journal de Montréal, 36% of Quebecers are experiencing food insecurity. What's most tragic in all this is that 41% of them are employed. Hunger is hitting so hard that Quebec food banks responded to, get this, a record 3.1 million requests in 1 month. When will the Lee's Liberals finally stop their inflationary spending so that Canadians can feed themselves properly, Mr. Speaker? The Honourable Secretary of State for Children and Youth. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Our investments are helping families. Budget 2025 contains many investments for children and families. This includes the school food program, which will help families save up to $800 a year. There's also the Canada Child Benefit, which can be about $8,000 a year for up to $8,000 a year for children under 6. We are here for Canadian families and children on this side of the House. The Honourable Member for Bellechasse, Les Etchemins, Lévis. Well, Mr. Speaker, what they're doing is just not working. And there's a family in my riding of 2 adults and 3 children. They are suffocated by the cost of living. They're spending the winter in a trailer. They were so ashamed that they didn't dare ask for food. A frontline worker was the one who alerted the food bank. Now, the food price report confirms that groceries will cost $1,000 more next year. When will this Prime Minister stop his inflationary spending to give dignity back to Quebecers, Mr. Speaker? The Honourable Secretary of State. Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House, we take these matters very seriously. We are not fixating on imaginary taxes. We are here to help Canadian families. One of our first measures was to give a tax break to 22 million Canadians. That's how we are helping children. That's how we're helping families. And this is the work we are doing. The Honourable Member for Pierre Boucher, Les Patriotes Verchères. Mr. Speaker, Washington is calling on the federal government to do more to combat the problem of discount drivers. Even Americans are fed up with these dangerous drivers on our roads and on theirs. Now, yes, the Liberals have taken up our request to force companies to report the income of self-employed drivers, but the American embassy has told them that while this is a step in the right direction, it is not a cure-all. The Bloc Québécois suggested 10 measures. The Liberals only took one of them. And now they think the job is done, Mr. Speaker. As for the 9 other measures, they are shirking what they should be doing. When will they take the issue seriously? The Honourable Minister of Transport. Quite the opposite, Mr. Speaker. We take this matter very seriously, which is why we have put forward tangible measures, tax measures, information sharing measures, as well as measures in the Canada Labour Code. We are taking action. And do you know what? Surprise, surprise, the Bloc Québécois voted against our budget. The very same budget which will fix this federal issue of Chauffeur Inc. and will help us move forward on this file. So I hope the Bloc Québécois will wake up. The Honourable Member for Pierre Boucher, Les Patriotes Verchères. If the Liberals had done enough to address the problem of low-cost drivers, the United States would not be demanding that they do their job. Washington is growing impatient. We need an official inquiry to shed light on this industry. The industry exploits workers, and especially foreign workers. The industry is spreading like cancer. We must prevent temporary immigrants from working in the trucking industry. We need a public registry of offending companies, including penalties. Not only are the Liberals failing to act, they are obstructing the committee's work. How many more road accidents will it take for the Liberals to finally wake up and do something? The Honourable Minister. Mr. Speaker, now we've truly seen it all. The member knows full well that provinces are the ones who certify truck drivers. Provinces are the ones who inspect the trucks. Provinces are the ones who hire road controllers. And it's the same in the United States. They have states which issue driver's licenses and send their truckers up to Canada. The Bloc Québécois, for the first time in Bloc Québécois history, is asking the federal government to meddle with provincial areas of jurisdiction. Unbelievable, Mr. Speaker.
Fort McMurray Cold Lake.
The Prime Minister told Canadians that he should be judged by the prices at the grocery store. Well, most ask Santa Sarah from Go Clean Co. for something they wouldn't normally buy for themselves, a new winter coat or a fancy new vacuum. But this year, there were more asks for needs than wants. One mom from Kelowna asked for groceries. This mom shared that after rent was paid and putting $10 of gas into her car, she was left with $3 for the next 2 weeks and a baby in diapers. Does the Prime Minister think that people asking Santa for groceries is okay in this country?
The honourable member for
Mr. Speaker, our government is taking real action on affordability, protecting women's economic security, and empowering women across the country. We're introducing a middle-class tax cut that's going to benefit 22 million Canadians across the country, and we're making the National School Food Program permanent. This is going to feed kids at school while putting more money back into their pockets, and we're making housing more affordable through Build Canada Homes. This is going to help single mothers and keep families, give them them a safe place to live. We're also making auto tax filing for 5.5 million Canadians. This is real impact for Canadians, and that includes women and families across the country, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable member for Fort McMurray Cold Lake.
Liberal food inflation is crippling Canadian families. The Prime Minister told Canadians to judge him at the price at the grocery store, and he's failing. More and more Canadians are relying on charity simply to make ends meet. 33% of food bank users are children, and infant formula is in high demand at food banks, which is no surprise. A container now costs nearly $50, up 84% in the last 8 years. Does the Prime Minister care that feeding babies has become a daily struggle for Canadian families? Yes or no?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, my heart goes out to parents facing challenges, and we care about families. So while Conservatives amplify panic instead of offering a single solution, the evidence is clear. Research from the C.D. Howe Institute confirms that the Canada Child Benefit is one of the most effective tools we have to reduce child poverty and help families afford essentials. Let's be honest, Mr. Speaker, Conservatives voted against this. They voted against it then. They voted against supports now for families and children. Mr. Speaker, and their actions speak louder for themselves, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
The Honourable Member for Newmarket Aurora.
The Prime Minister once said that the grocery aisle would be his report card. Well, today in that aisle is a mother standing still, staring at the price of baby formula that has gone up 84%. She does the math in her head and wonders what she's going to cut next, because feeding her baby is not optional. Under these Liberals, even that has become a source of fear and anxiety. Their policies have driven up the cost of growing, shipping and selling the food. When will this Liberal government stop piling on taxes and stop their inflationary spending and let mothers afford the formula their babies need to thrive?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Family.
Speaker, while the opposition focuses on imaginary taxes, we're focused on real supports for Canadians, and that includes, Mr. Speaker, a Canada Child Benefit that keeps up with inflation, seniors benefits that keep up with inflation, a dental care plan that allows for Canadians to get their teeth fixed for God's sake, Mr. Speaker, something that these Conservatives vote against time and again. I ask myself, Mr. Speaker, what support for Canadian would they actually vote for? Because for them, it's sink or swim.
The Honourable Member for Brandon Souris.
The Prime Minister told Canadians he would be judged by the cost of groceries. Well, the 60,000 Manitobans who are lined up at food banks each month have judged him. They judged him based on grocery prices that they haven't come down. They judged him because even though they are working multiple jobs, they aren't able to put food on their own tables. They have done everything right, and this Prime Minister has failed them. So the question is very simple. When will these Liberals end their inflationary spending and taxes so Canadians can afford to put food on their own kitchen tables again?
Yes, sir. The Honourable Secretary of State for Financial Institutions.
Mr. Speaker, this is a party that voted against targeting the Canada Child Benefit to those that needed it the most. This is a party that voted against dental care for seniors. This is a party that voted against the school food program. Mr. Speaker, time and time again, this party has voted against affordability programs. Canadians can judge. Canadians know on this side of the House, we're focused on delivering affordability for Canadians. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That's right.
Honourable Member for Brandon Souris.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians know the truth about that side of the House, and it's that under them, their grocery bills are still going up. What the Liberals have done has made life more expensive, not less. How much worse does it have to get before these Liberals realize that there are disastrous tax hikes, packaging standards, and out-of-control spending that is responsible for 60,000 Manitobans now having to rely on food banks each month just to eat? How can these guys live with themselves? Will they take ownership, cut the red tape and the spending, and bring affordability grocery prices back for hungry Canadians?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister.
It's hard to take that
member and that party seriously, frankly, Mr. Speaker, because in the budget is actually contained a tax cut for 22 million Canadians, Mr. Speaker. They stand in the progress of that bill being advanced to help support Canadians. They voted against the National Food School Program, Mr. Speaker. And talking about food, Mr. Speaker, there was not one single thing in the Conservative platform for farmers in this country in April of 2025. That's why we're on this side of this House, Mr. Speaker. We're working for agricultural producers. We're working to help reduce taxes and to help support Canadians across this country, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable member for Carleton.
Mr. Speaker, residents of Carleton have made it clear they want leadership and an economic vision for the country. Budget 2025 taxes for 22 million Canadians, makes the National Food Program for children.
Okay, I think we all got off on the wrong foot on that one.
Congratulations on your maiden speech.
So let's order to the honourable member. Order. We'll have to take that one from the top. Okay.
Mr. Speaker, residents of Carleton have made it very clear they want real leadership and an economic vision for this country. Budget 25 cuts taxes for 22 million Canadians, makes permanent the National School Food Program, and invests tens of billions of dollars in infrastructure and major projects across the country. These are actions that will improve the lives of Canadians. Can the Minister of Finance update this House on how the Budget Implementation Act will help strengthen our economy, and why is it being stalled?
The Honourable Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, even the Conservative can feel the passion in that question, Mr. Speaker. But the people of Carleton will know, Mr. Speaker, that there's only one reason and one reason alone why these key pieces of legislation have not yet been passed, Mr. Speaker. And it's the opposition partisan game, Mr. Speaker. Even ahead of Christmas, Mr. Speaker, they're stopping legislation for first-time home buyers, Mr. Speaker. They're stopping the creation of tens of thousands of jobs, Mr. Speaker. They're stopping the National School Food Program, Mr. Speaker. On this side of the House, we're going to build Canada.
The honourable member for Calgary East.
Wants to believe he disagrees with everything that he wrote about pipelines over the last 10 years. He supported Liberals cancelling a West Coast pipeline in 2016 in his 2021 committee testimony. The Liberals' tanker ban off the West Coast makes a pipeline impossible. Will Liberals admit they were wrong on pipelines, wrong on the tanker ban, and vote for our motion to approve a pipe to the Pacific, remove the tanker ban, just like the Prime Minister promised Alberta in the MOU?
The Honourable Minister of Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, it's really sad that the Conservatives are divided, because the Premier of Alberta supports the entire MOU. The Premier of Saskatchewan supports the entire MOU. The Premier of Ontario supports the entire MOU. The cynical ploy to pick and choose. Canadians can see through that, Mr. Speaker. Why don't they come on board with all of us and all the provinces and vote for Building Canada?
Honourable member for Calgary East.
You guys are talking out of both sides of their mouth. The Prime Minister tells his Keep It in the Ground caucus no pipeline. He tells Alberta there will be one. He says he supports a tanker ban, but then promises to override it. He's going to flip-flop on the pipeline until after the election, pretending he wants to build one without ever offending his loony left Liberals. Will he stand up to keep it in the Ground caucus? Get it?
The honourable member wasn't targeting a specific MP on this side, but it still wasn't maybe the nicest language. He may continue.
The Prime Minister talks out of both sides of his mouth. He tells the Keep It in the Ground caucus no pipeline while promising Albertans there will be. He says he supports a tanker ban, then promises to override it. He's going to flip-flop on the pipeline until after the election, pretending he wants to build.
The Honourable Minister of Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, I would invite the member opposite to read the entire MOU. And then maybe he could join the Premier of his province and support the MOU like all of us and all of the other premiers. Why doesn't he get on board and build Canada strong?
The Honourable Member for Leduc Wetaskiwin.
A decade ago, this Liberal government killed the Northern Gateway pipeline, which would have shipped 525,000 barrels of Canadian oil per day to Asian markets. The value of that oil would have been billions coming annually into the Canadian economy. Instead of that economic supercharge, Liberals enacted crushing policies with no environmental benefit while doubling Canada's debt. That Liberal political decision greatly benefited the economies of other oil-producing countries like Saudi Arabia, Iran, Venezuela, and Russia. But what did Canadians get from that sacrifice other than a mountain of new Liberal debt?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Minister has answered that question a number of times already today. What is clear to me is that the Conservative Party doesn't see the need to be investing in our economy. Mr. Speaker, we put forward a plan in the form of a budget, and that budget sees over $50 billion going straight into the community of each and every member of Parliament in this room, Mr. Speaker. It is going to create community centres, recreational centres. It's going to create local infrastructure that is going to benefit Canadian families from coast to coast to coast, and the Conservatives seem to be against everything that is good for Canadians.
The Honourable Member for Leduc Wetaskiwin.
Back to the actual topic. The Liberal MP from Victoria defiantly stated that he is, quote, decisively not in support. The Liberal Member of Parliament for Vancouver-Granville has said that it must have BC's consent. The Liberal MP for Fleetwood Port Kells went further, saying that any pipeline, quote, must have the consent of the Premier of British Columbia. Without support from that one Canadian, he said emphatically, quote, there will be no pipeline. Will the Prime Minister stand up to his Keep It in the Ground caucus, or is his real plan to simply delay any pipeline until after the next election when he can kill it?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
I don't know if that member's saying that we should be building a pipeline without having partnerships with First Nations over the objections of the democratic and duly elected province and government of British Columbia. I don't know that that's what that member's saying. It seems to be what he's saying. If he could perhaps clarify for this House and for the people of Alberta and British Columbia, that would be very helpful. For our part, we're going to work with British Columbia, we're going to work with First Nations, and we're going to execute this MOU, every part of it, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Caribou Prince George.
Prime Minister promised Canadians he would build now and move at unimaginable speeds.
He did.
But eight months later, all we have is a questionable MOU that punts the pipeline proposal down the road. It doesn't create jobs. It doesn't boost the economy. All it does is give Premier Eby another excuse to keep saying over my dead body. The Constitution is clear. BC has no veto. So why are the Liberals stalling? Will the Liberals admit they were wrong and vote for our motion to approve a pipeline like the Prime Minister said he would?
Good question.
Honourable Government House Leader.
Well, Mr. Speaker, this time it's from a Member of Parliament from British Columbia. The Member of Parliament from British Columbia wishes to now let it be known that he would stomp all over the duly elected government of the province of British Columbia, stomp all over Indigenous and First Nations involvement in any such advances. The member wants it to be made very clear that there is only one part of that entire MOU that appeals to him. For our part, we like it all, we're working on it all, and we're going to work with others to get it done.
The Honourable Member for Caribou Prince George.
We are hemorrhaging jobs at a staggering rate in BC. Over the last 2 weeks, thousands of British Columbians have lost their jobs because of this Prime Minister. The pipeline will create jobs and make our economy self-reliant. We need this. Our nation needs this.
Hear, hear.
But the Liberals can't get their story straight. One MP says no pipeline without BC's consent, and the member from Victoria says he's decisively not in support. They say one thing to one group and another to another group. How can Canadians take this government seriously when they can't get their story straight and can't get their caucus in line?
That's right.
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Let's talk a little bit about British Columbia, the single province with the most projects of national significance, the most capital investment announced, the largest capital investment in the history of this country, announced by my colleague, the Minister of Natural Resources. But if that's not enough, Mr. Speaker, how about 3 straight months of job growth? How about inflation down? How about wages up? inflation? How about celebrating the economic progress and the successes of this country instead of sitting over there and talking Canada down?
The honourable member for Okanagan Lake West, South Kelowna.
Told Canadians he would be judged by the prices at the grocery store. And in British Columbia, food bank use is entrenched, with about 1/4 of families food insecure. A family of 4 will pay about $1,000 more for food next year. We know this out-of-touch Prime Minister doesn't do his own shopping, but Canadians still have to pay at the till. Will he admit to BC families that he doesn't know a thing about grocery prices and that under these Liberals, higher bills are the new normal, or will he adopt Conservative ideas to make life more affordable, like cutting inflationary spending and ending the industrial carbon tax?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, again, it's hard to take that member and that party seriously on the questions when in the platform of April 2025, that member has a lot of farmers in his riding, Mr. Speaker. They're the ones who contribute in this country. Not a single platform commitment from the Conservative Party for farmers in this country, Mr. Speaker. It's hard to take that member opposite when he votes against the National Food School Program, Mr. Speaker. 400,000 Canadians benefit young children in this country. He votes against it. How about tax cuts, Mr. Speaker? That used to be the party that stood for that. They're standing in the way in this House of passing this budget 2025, which is good for Canadians, Mr. Speaker.
Also, member for Cloverdale, Langley City.
This Prime Minister told Canadians he should be judged by prices at the grocery store. Well, I heard from Amy in Cloverdale. She lives in a household of 2, doesn't have children of her own, and still can't keep up with groceries. When she heard more increases are coming, she wondered if the ultimate goal is to force people to crawl on their hands and knees begging and pleading for relief. For Amy, meat's a luxury, and she's terrified for the future of her 5 nephews. Amy asked me, when will it stop? So when will the Prime Minister finally stop driving up food costs so Canadians can afford to feed themselves?
The Honourable Minister of Veterans Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, I know the people in British Columbia are concerned about prices, and we are too. We're taking care of them. They want a government that's going to stand with them. That's why we're investing in the National School Food Program to support 400,000 families. That's why we're investing in supports for seniors, and it's why we're investing in supports for families to take care of their children. Mr. Speaker, we're going to stand with British Columbians. We're going to stand with all Canadians and take care of them.
The Honourable Member for Kamloops, Shuswap, Central Rockies.
This Prime Minister told Canadians he should be judged by prices at the grocery store. Well, food bank visits have increased up to 80% in BC. The Kamloops Food Bank had almost 74,000 visits last year, and the number keeps growing. Now donations are dropping, and food banks are reducing service areas to remain sustainable, cutting off rural areas from support. When will the Liberals cut their inflationary spending, their industrial carbon tax, and their new fuel tax so Canadians can afford to eat?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, that Conservative member talks about food prices, and yet he voted against making the National School Food Program permanent, Mr. Speaker. That is a program that helps young people, that helps school-aged children eat food in order to learn better, Mr. Speaker. This morning I made an announcement at a women's shelter in Montreal that our government has funded in order to help women find a secure and safe place to call home, Mr. Speaker. The Conservatives are against supporting our frontline workers, whether it's in the food industry, whether it's our shelters, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Rivière-des-Mille-Îles. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Strengthening economic security also means protecting the dignity and financial peace of mind of seniors, including fraud against seniors, which is a major political issue. Did you know who said that, Mr. Speaker? The member for Shefford. And we agree, and that is the reason for which it is so disappointing to see the Bloc Québécois delaying Bill C-15. Could the Minister of Finance remind those who are intentionally delaying this bill how their partisan manoeuvring has a real impact on our seniors? The Honourable Minister for Finance. Mr. Speaker, financial fraud is a serious problem that disproportionately affects seniors, newcomers and other vulnerable populations. That is the reason for which, in Budget 2025 and Bill C-15, we are taking decisive action to strengthen enforcement and ensure that Canadians can have confidence in the security and resilience of their financial systems. Mr. Speaker, the Bloc Québécois is against this. What a shock. It's difficult to understand why the Bloc would be against helping our seniors. What's easy to understand is that the 44 members of the Quebec Liberal caucus will defend seniors.
Mr. Speaker, this Prime Minister told Canadians to judge him by the prices at the grocery store. 8 months have passed, and now Canada's food price report says that Canadian families should expect to pay an extra $1,000 for groceries in 2026. In total, grocery bills have doubled under the Liberals to $340 per week. When will these Liberals cut their inflationary spending, the industrial carbon tax, and their new fuel tax so Canadians can afford to eat?
That's right.
The Honourable Minister of Emergency Preparedness and Community Resilience.
Mr. Speaker, we've cut taxes for 22 million Canadians. We're building affordable homes. We're making it easier for young people to buy homes, creating thousands of jobs by investing in our economy. The easiest way for Conservatives to make life more affordable to Canadians is to support our plan and Budget 25. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Louis Saint Laurent, Akia-Wenrack. Mr. Speaker, this government's economic policies don't work. Grocery bills have gone up, have doubled over the last 10 years under the Liberal government, and it'll cost $1,000 more next year. Food banks can't handle it. In Saint-André-Neuchâtel, there will be 200 Christmas baskets handed out, 70 more than last year. In the Caisse Saint-Ambroise, 325 Christmas baskets are being prepared. There is one food bank that has already reached their quota. Some people who need this basket won't get one. Will the Liberals finally understand that their policy and politics simply do not work? The Honourable Member. What makes us different than the Conservatives is that on this side we believe that we need a strong economy to protect the most vulnerable. A strong economy. 54,000 jobs created in November, 60,000 in September. Unemployment is going down. Inflation is going back into Bank of Canada forecasts. But they never voted for. Not only that, they keep voting against the dental care system, the National Food Programme, the child benefit system. So, Mr. Speaker, the Conservative hypocrisy is simply alarming. The Honourable Member for Bourgneuf-Jacques-Cartier. Speaking of hypocrisy, they've implemented programs for the last 10 years, but nothing's working. In my riding, I went around 17 food banks that are preparing Christmas hampers for people, and they have all said that the number of requests have gone up. The Prime Minister needs to come down from his ivory tower, needs to go down in the field and stop. He needs to stop with inflationary taxes. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, we have said it again and again. The Conservatives keep talking about imaginary taxes. Inflation is going down here in Canada, and we are here to meet the needs of Canadians. The Conservatives, however, voted against all the measures in the budget that will help people make ends meet, including our school food program that will help our children. Can you imagine that, Mr. Speaker?
From Guelph.
Mr. Speaker, Budget 2025 contains many comprehensive measures to help make life more affordable for Canadians while helping grow the economy. Open banking promotes competition and affordability by letting Canadian consumers and businesses take advantage of cutting-edge technologies and share their financial data with approved and regulated service providers. Can the Secretary of State for Financial Institutions please outline why open banking is so important to the Canadian economy and how stalling progress on this file is harming Canadian consumers and businesses?
Honourable Secretary of State for Financial Institutions.
Mr. Speaker,
Open banking will give Canadians more control over their own financial data, allowing them to securely choose the services that work best for their needs. It will increase competition, lower costs, and help families get better budgeting tools, faster access to credit, and tailored financial products. These are common sense measures that the opposition is obstructing by delaying our budget bill, Mr. Speaker. I urge that Conservative leader to let his heart grow over Christmas. Put the partisan games aside and join us in building a strong and resilient Canadian economy. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Montmorency-Charlevoix. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the Conflict of Interest Act, it is clearly noted that ministerial staff, for example, are not allowed to get any gifts or other benefits. The Journal de Montréal stated this morning that 10 people connected to the Liberal Party of Canada received $1,000 each for services rendered during the last leadership race for the current leader of the Liberal Party of Quebec. Can the Prime Minister finally explain to Quebecers what's all this Liberal flim-flamming about?
La loi sur les conflits d'intérêts?
The Conflict of Interest Act doesn't apply. Does not apply to the province. This is a federal statute. Does anyone want to answer that one? The Leader of the Government in the House. Mr. Speaker, like the member and Canadians know full well, provincial and federal parties are independent from one another. Canadians can get involved in provincial politics. If someone does so, it's on a personal level, and we, of course, expect all staff members and former staff members of the government act in an exemplary fashion with regards to every statute.
Nunavut fishery is an underdeveloped economic engine, as QIA keeps saying. As a result of Liberal decisions, BC and Newfoundland hold more than 80% interest in their coastal fisheries, but Nunavut gets only half. Fisheries infrastructure like the deep sea force in Qikiqtarjuaq is left unfinished. Will the Liberals finally treat Inuit like a full economic partner so they can benefit from local resources?
The Honourable Minister of Fisheries and Oceans.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to reassure my colleague across the aisle that the conversations are still happening, no decision has been made, and I encourage the participation as we move forward before making a decision. Thank you.
It being 3:11, the House will now proceed to the taking of the deferred recorded division on the amendment of Mr. Genis to the motion at second reading stage of Bill C-15. Call in the members.